Good morning. I'm Jan Widmeyer, and it has been my pleasure and privilege to serve as one of the 8th grade religious school teachers this year. The 8th graders have spent their time with me, engaged in the study of the Holocaust, and these students have been grappling with some very tough materials. They have studied the historical circumstances that gave rise to Nazism, the increasing anti-Semitism in Germany in the 1930s, and the movement of Jews into Nazi-mandated ghettos, and the concentration and death camps, the liberation of the camps, and the world's efforts to come to terms with the experience. As the capstone experience for the 8th graders, in addition to helping to lead today's service, I asked the students to create a personal response or reflection to the material we have studied together. I gave them free rein to select the mode of this response, and the variety of their work is really wonderful. Students have created art, poetry, and music, and have written about books that were meaningful to them, and have written about their own growing understanding of the Holocaust over time. The student works are contained in the booklets available at the entrance to the sanctuary. I urge you to take the time to explore their work. I want to extend my gratitude to my 8th grade teaching partner, Rochelle Koenig, who has been a fantastic colleague. Thank you also to Marla Aviva Bentley for providing wonderful guidance and leadership this year and being of invaluable help in helping me to assemble the pieces of this service. The student packets that you have are the result of Marla's hard work. Thank you to Rabbi C. for leading today's service, and my deepest gratitude to Sue Leftwich. Sue and I have been working together. We were calculating it this morning. This is our 22nd year collaborating on this service, and every year Sue enriches the Yom HaShoah service with her beautiful music and singing. One topic the students and I have discussed in our study of the Holocaust is the impact of individual choices. During these dramatic historical times that we've been studying, hugely significant consequences resulted from moment-by-moment decisions on choices made by individual people. Because one person averted her attention or embraced evil, another person died. Similarly, because a person held out a helping hand, somebody survived. Both big historical trends and the fates of individuals depended on small day-to-day choices. We are now living in a moment in history when the impact of some individual choices on broad groups and world events is starkly illuminated. Last year, at this time, at this service, I spoke about the war in Ukraine and the individual choices of the many people whose actions have shaped that conflict. Since then, we have witnessed the events of October 7, experienced the events that have followed in Israel, Gaza, and around the world, and including the rise of anti-Semitism worldwide. We are seeing in real time the power of individual human choices and the ways these choices have life-altering impacts on ourselves and others. It's impossible not to see both parallels and contrasts between the current events of the day and the history we are commemorating together. In prior years with the 8th graders, I would worry that the discussions of the Holocaust were somehow theoretical or abstract, and that the students might not quite connect. I'm not worried about that this year. I know that these students are living in a world where this lesson of the importance of individual choices is part of their lived experience. Perhaps as we together engage in this holy act of commemorating Yom HaShoah, we can be inspired to move forward and continue to make choices that protect ourselves, our loved ones, our community, and those throughout the world that are victims of hatred.
We begin with silence, the silence of death, the silence after destruction. There are times when songs falter, when darkness fills life, when martyrdom becomes a constellation of faith against the unrelieved black of space about us. There are no words to reach beyond the edge of night, no messenger to tell the full tale. There's only silence, the silence of Job, the silence of 6 million, the silence of memory. Let us remember them as we link our silences. We continue on page 523.
Here is the curtain I eat with my son on laptop, and you, my other boy, Sam, and the son of tell him that I.
If the prophets broke in through the doors of night and sought an ear like a homeland, ear of mankind, overgrown with nettles, would you hear? If the voice of the prophets blew on flutes made of murdered children's bones and exhaled airs burnt with martyrs' cries, if they build a bridge of old men's dying groans, ear of mankind, occupied with small sounds, would you hear?
Please turn to page 524. You who live secure in your warm houses, who return at evening to find hot food and friendly faces, consider whether this is a man who labors in the mud, who knows no peace, who fights for a crust of bread, who dies at a yes or a no. Consider whether this is a woman without hair or name, with no more strength to remember, eyes empty and womb cold as a frog in winter. Consider that this has been. I commend these words to you. Engrave them on your hearts, when you are in your house, when you walk on your way, when you go to bed, when you rise. Repeat them to your children, or may your house crumble, disease render you powerless, your offspring avert their faces from you.
Please turn to page 525. In the presence of eyes which witnessed the slaughter, which saw the oppression the heart could not bear, and as witnessed the heart that once taught compassion until the days came to pass that crushed human feeling, I have taken an oath to remember it all, to remember not once to forget. Forget not one thing to the last generation, when degradation shall cease, to the last to its ending, when the rod of instruction shall have come to conclusion. An oath, not in vain, passed over the night of terror. An oath, no morning shall see me at flesh pots again. An oath, lest from this we learned nothing.
Turn the page to 526. A little garden, fragrant and full of roses. The path is narrow, and a little boy walks along it. A little boy, a sweet boy, like that growing blossom. When the blossom comes to bloom, the little boy will be no more.
Simon Ellis, one of our 8th grade students, composed a piece called Yom HaShoah. His explanation of his composition is in your packets, and we'll be listening to it now.
Please turn to page 527. Our grandfather is a survivor of the Holocaust. Our mom taught us about that terrible time in history. We asked our grandpa about how he felt living in the Lodz ghetto and working in the concentration camp. How did he have the will to survive? He doesn't talk about the Holocaust very much, but we know that he thinks about it often. We learn about the Holocaust in school, and we tell our grandpa about what we learn. We are proud of our grandfather and have learned a lot from him. We will always remember never to forget. We will always remember all who perished in the Holocaust and hope that teaching others will prevent this terrible thing from happening again.
We continue on page 528. It was the cold winter, 1944, and although we had nothing like calendars, my father, who was my fellow prisoner there, took me and some of our friends to a corner in our barrack. He announced that it was the eve of Hanukkah, produced a curious-shaped clay bowl, and began to light a wick immersed in his precious but now melted margarine ration. Before he could recite the first blessing, I protested at the waste of food. He looked at me, then at the lamp, and finally said, "You and I have seen that it is possible to live up to 3 weeks without food. We once lived almost 3 days without water, but you cannot live properly for 3 minutes without hope."
The words to Esainai can be found on page 643.
Please continue on page 529. I believe in the sun even when it is not shining. I believe in love even when feeling it not. I believe in God even when God is silent. If worry and despondency seek our undoing, then we should think about Yitzchor in such way that we carry on work of our ancestors from Sinai, in that we today are truly their children, and we are parents of future generations. Then the chain does not break, and we gain strength to carry out nobly these historical responsibilities, and to thank God sincerely that Yitzchor has become the celebration of our soul.
We continue on page 531. You must not say that you now walk the final way, because the darkened heavens hide the blue of day. The time we've longed for will at last draw near, and our steps, as drums, will sound that we are here. From land all green with palms to land all white with snow, we now arrive with all our pain and all our woe. Where our blood sprayed out and came to touch the land, there our courage and our faith will rise and stand.
We continue now with a moment of silence. Please rise.
Male rachamim shochin b'meramim hamtzimnu chanechona tachat kanfei hashchina b'ma'alot kedoshim utehorim kezohar arakiam azeirim et nishmot 6 million achinu ve'achotenu shenehargu al kiddush Hashem Ba'al harachamim Yastirim beseter knafav leolamim Vitror achaim et nishmatam Adonai hu nachalatam V'yanuchu b'shalom al mishkavam V'nomar Amen.
We remain standing.
Kaddish Yatom for the Holocaust can be found on page 533. Yitgadal,
Auschwitz,
Vayit Kadash,
Lodz,
Shemei Rabbah,
Honar,
Ba'alma Divrach Hirute,
Babi Yar,
V'yamlich Malchute,
Meidenek,
B'chayechon Uvyomechon,
Birkenau,
Uvchaye Dechol Beit Yisrael,
Kovno,
Ba'agalal Uvizman Kariv,
Yanowska,
Ve'imru, Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabba Mevorach Leolam Umei Almaya, Yitbarach V'yishtabach,
Theresienstadt,
Vayit Pa'ar V'yit Romam,
Buchenwald,
Vayit Naseh Vayit Hadar,
Treblinka,
Vayit Ale Vayit Halal,
Vilna,
Shemei Dekudesha Barichu,
Bergen-Belsen,
Le'ela,
Mauthausen,
Min Kol Birchata V'Shirata,
Dachau,
Tush Bechata V'Nechemata,
Minsk,
Da'miran Bi'alma,
Warsaw,
V'imru,
Amen.
Amen. Yehi Shlama Rabba Min Shemaya, V'chayim Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael, V'imru, Amen. Oseh Shalom Bimromav, Hu Ya'aseh Shalom, Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael, V'imru. Amen. We remain standing as we sing together Hatikva.
The words to Hatikva can be found on page 678.
May all who mourn and know sorrow soon know comfort as we say together, Amen. This concludes the formal service for Yom HaShoah. Our students can return to their classrooms and be dismissed at the regular time.